46. That is the number of classified UAP video files Congress just formally demanded from the Department of War. Files with operational names like UAP USO formation, spherical UAP erratic movement, and one captured an Air National Guard F-16 engaging a UAP over Lake Huron. These are not vague requests. They are specific, dated, and named files, and the person demanding them just set a hard deadline. But buried inside the story is a bigger question, one that goes well beyond a congressional letter. Because if some of what is in those files shows technology that was never alien to begin with, then everything we've been told about the UAP conversation may need a second look.
So see, the biggest part of the secrecy isn't the extraterrestrial part. The biggest part is what we have and what it's been used for.
That was Stephen Greer in a recent interview with Michael Franzese. But let's hold on to that thought because it doesn't only set a foundation for today's episode, but also something that we'll come back to a little bit later in this one. On March 31st, 2026, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, chairwoman of the Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets, sent a formal letter to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. The letter demands delivery of 46 specific UAP video files no later than April 14th. That's about a 13-day window. The task force operates under the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, which has broader congressional authority to investigate any matter at any time. And this is the formal oversight structure of the U.S. government, putting something in writing. Luna's letter states directly that the task force has found AARO's response, quote, less than adequate. AARO, the Pentagon's congressionally mandated UAP investigation body, was built specifically to be the government's central point for collecting and investigating UAP data, and the task force overseeing its work just told the Secretary of War in writing that it's falling short on that mandate. This follows a task force hearing on September 9th, 2025, where whistleblowers told Congress that AARO holds additional video records of UAP sightings that have never been disclosed. Luna's letter is the follow-through on this. Someone with inside knowledge of what AARO has told Congress exactly what to ask for, file by file.
The fact is, the reason it's so secret is that there have been covert programs using man-made UFOs doing criminal enterprises since the late 50s and early 60s. Now, there's maybe 20% of the ones that people see are actually of extraterrestrial origin. And we know how to distinguish between the two. And the third category that's being put out there as alien are what they call extra-dimensional. It's an unusual phenomenon that comes from another dimension, but it's not extraterrestrial and it's not man-made, except in some cases. It's a covert program staging as alien using technology that kind of like stages some weird, creepy thing from another dimension.
Whether you accept Greer's framework or not, that framing lands differently when you're looking at a congressional list of 46 files that nobody will release. The list spans years, platforms, and locations. And among the entries that stand out, a 2022 record of a 4 UAP formation over Iran, a 2021 clip of a UAP making an instant acceleration in Syrian airspace, footage from a 5th-generation aircraft in January of 2023, and a 2022 recording of multiple spherical objects going in and out of the water near a U.S. submarine. That last category is referred to in military reporting as USO activity, unidentified submerged objects. Congress is formally requesting footage of objects operating underwater near a submarine. But the entry that draws the most attention is the Air National Guard F-16 that shot down a UAP over Lake Huron back in February of 2023 using an AIM-9X missile. That incident is publicly confirmed, but what has never been released is the sensor and infrared footage from that mission. The pilot described the object in authenticated cockpit audio as octagonal, suspended in the air, and unlike any balloon he's ever seen. The visual record from that engagement is one of the 46 files Luna is now demanding. Congress did not pull those 46 file names out of thin air. Someone on the inside, with direct knowledge of what AARO is sitting on, handed lawmakers the specific titles, dates, and operational details. And this is exactly exactly the strategy we saw Eric Burleson mention a few weeks ago. When you walk into a room with exact file names, operational call signs, and dates, agencies can no longer claim that they don't know what you're talking about. There is less room for plausible deniability when the paperwork is that specific. But stay with me. Now to the section of the story that goes beyond the letter itself. Dr. Greer's recent interview spent considerable amount of time on a scenario that has circulated in UFO research circles for decades, the possibility of a staged or manufactured alien threat event. His argument, drawn from what he describes as insider testimony and documents, is that the technology to make such an event appear real has existed for some time. In his telling, man-made craft operating alongside advanced projection and psychological operations capability could be used to stage something the public would have no framework to question. And that's not a new claim. Werner von Braun, the rocket engineer brought to the US after World War II under Operation Paperclip, reportedly warned his assistant, Dr. Carol Rosen, before his death in 1977, that a sequence of manufactured threats would be used to justify global military expansion, with a staged alien threat as the final entry on that list. Dr. Rosen testified about those conversations publicly before the National Press Club in 2001, and this is referred to as Project Bluebeam.
But we don't know at what point they're going to take that one step further and stage an alien attack on the planet that would be all human, but it would fool everyone. And I debriefed somebody in 1997 who, in the 70s, was on an interagency team. He says, yes, we can hit a button and the sky will be filled with our man-made UFOs attacking places, and everyone will think it's an alien attack. It's your classic false flag.
Here is where the analysis gets genuinely complicated, and this is a conversation worth seriously having and not just brushing aside, because there are at least three possible readings on this situation. The first is that a staged event is the plan, that advanced man-made craft and technology would be used to create the appearance of an alien threat in order to consolidate power and control. The second is that the claim of a staged event in itself is a layer of disinformation. In other words, if enough people are conditioned to believe any large-scale UAP event is automatically manufactured, then a real event would be dismissed as fake before anyone could respond to it. And that is actually a more sophisticated use of psychological operations than the staged event itself. And the third reading is one that some researchers have raised, rooted in ancient and religious prophetic traditions, numerous cultures, including Christian end-time texts, the Hopi Blue Star prophecy, and Vedic texts describing celestial battles, and these are describing future events involving beings from the sky. Some researchers argue that if those within classified programs have knowledge of something genuinely incoming, manufacturing a fake version first would serve two purposes. It would give them control of the narrative, and it would ensure that when something real does occur, the public already has a framework to dismiss it as staged. None of those readings can be verified, however, but all three are worth holding simultaneously because the UAP conversation has always operated on multiple levels at once.
People have this all backward. We're the threat. I mean, humans with the kind of technologies we have, we're the ones that are a threat to other worlds out there.
And the reason humans are a threat is not some abstract concept. It is the most human thing of all. Greed, the hunger for power, the drive for money and control. The very qualities that every film about humanity tries to capture as both our greatest flaw and our most defined trait. So it's not going to be malice from the stars, but ambitions from within. If that framework holds even partially, then the 46 files Luna is demanding are not just about what was observed in those skies. They are about what was done in response to it, by whom, and under whose authority, and whether any of that was even sanctioned by the people supposed to be in charge. The clock is running. April 14th is the deadline. If Hegg Seth and the Department of War do not comply, Luna has escalation tools. The Committee on Oversight and Government Reform has used subpoenas, contempt proceedings, and referrals to the Department of Justice in past situations where demands were not met. Luna's track record on this is consistent, and she has pushed through meetings with the FBI, the Pentagon, and the White House. She does not tend to send letters she is not prepared to back up. The specificity of this list is the clearest signal that something has shifted inside the system. 46 files, named by date and operational call sign, requested under formal congressional authority. That doesn't happen without inside information and without the intention to follow through. So, after everything that we've covered, the letter, the files, and the false flag debate, do you think what is being hidden is about what they found, what they built, or something else entirely? Let me know your